Throughout my many years of playing video games, there have been some that stuck with me up until this very day. Hello, what's up, and welcome everyone. My name is Miss Quinn, and I make videos on video game reviews, news about the video game industry, and the people in it. And today I want to ask the question, what makes a game memorable? This is a question that I even asked on Twitter, and people agreed that it's the story as well as gameplay that makes it memorable. Before we begin, however, I do want to put out a spoiler warning just in case you guys haven't played these games. And with that being said, yeah, let's start today's video. Cyberpunk 2077, even though many remember it because it was such a glitchy mess and downright unplayable during launch, it is a fantastic game. It's a great example of an enticing story that hooks itself into your head. Putting the romantic options aside, Judy Alvarez is a great example of that. In the early stage of the game, we help Judy locate Evelyn after our failed heist. No, that's right, we weren't so great. We find Evelyn, yes, but not without its own repercussions. You see, she's already traumatized after being cyber attacked, being the R word, and being sold to scavengers and so on. So it's basically no surprise that later on, after saving her and handing her over to Judy, she later goes on to unaliving herself in Judy's bathtub. And I hope it wasn't just me, but I felt honestly so sad to see that Judy was so crushed, who calls us immediately after seeing Evelyn. And this isn't the only heart-wrenching time that we have within this game. Before watching Judy and going through all of that, we as the player lose Jackie Wells, someone who has grown really close to V. And add in the wonderful story apart from that, and mix it together, and you have a world that it's so easy to live in and so amazing to indulge in, even the nightlife within it. It's just beautiful, the environment, the storytelling, and the fact that, unfortunately, even though I don't like first person, but it's a really great mix. Everything feels really immersive. Cyberpunk may have started out really rough, but it's nothing short of memorable. It's unfortunate that this game was plagued with horrible reviews early on in the beginning, but that's it. It was the beginning, and the story is so good. There's another mission way later in the game where we have to use a brain dance in order to save a kid that has gone missing for a while. Now, we obviously have to help a cop doing that, and that's all I'm going to say on the matter, just in case you ever want to play this game for yourself. And I honestly really recommend it. This game, like I said, the story, the environment, just, oh my, it's a fantastic blend in order for you to keep going back inside of it and possibly discovering more of the world that you didn't think you can see within a game. Telltale's game The Walking Dead was absolutely spectacular. The first season was a 5-part episodic game that put you in control of a man named Lee. And as Lee, we were in charge later on of Clementine, an 8-year-old girl who is looking for her parents. The problem with this is that her parents are unalive, and she doesn't know this until the very end of the 5-part within the season. However, throughout the season, we are not only growing attached to Clem, but we are also growing attached to Lee, seeing as how, we're playing him. Do you see where I'm going with this? Near the end, Clem is obviously hurt that her parents are now one of the zombies that they have been running from, because she unfortunately finds them, she sees them, and she is very, very much distraught. Although, unfortunately, she also finds out that Lee had also been bitten by one and can no longer move forward. He is essentially down for the count, so to speak. Because while we were looking for Clem, it is obvious that Lee was trying so hard to have every ounce of energy in order to find Clem, because again, they have formed such a strong bond, and in turn, we have also formed a strong bond with Clem. Now, it is at this point that we as a player are tasked with two options: to tell Clem to leave us after we are handcuffed, or to tell Clem to unalive us. And now, I'm not going to lie to you, I did choose the latter, and I cried while Clem was tasked with ending Lee. And I know I probably shouldn't have done that. I don't know if you have also chose that, but I do know quite a bit of people who did choose to have Clem end him. It is at this point that I was crying like a baby, as Clem was also crying as the 8-year-old girl that she is. And I just felt so bad for Clem, but at the same time, I didn't want Lee to succumb to being a walker. That was something I didn't want him to become, just because, yo, I love the guy. This game focused so much on not just the story, but the relationships that we developed with Clementine and Lee. They both had a dynamic that was just beyond what I have seen so far. The rest of the seasons of the game, we now play as Clementine, and yes, unfortunately, Lee keeps popping up in memories and in conversations. And the only reason why I say unfortunately is because it kept making me cry every time I would see a flashback or every time Clementine would have a quote-unquote conversation with him. You can tell how much of an effect Lee had in her life, even if it wasn't for that long, and that's what I love to see in games such as these. If you're into action games, then you have probably noticed that many aim to have the level of impact that Batman Arkham Asylum seems to have. In this game, Joker and Harley Quinn take over Arkham Asylum, but this isn't why it's completely memorable. The flow of punches, kicks, combos, everything that you can accomplish being Batman is so good. It's actually making me feel like a bad bee. But besides the flow of the combat, the environment changes throughout the game bit by bit as you progress through the story. I especially love it in the game when Ivy is released by Harley, because we get to see plants and vines take over. First, you have snipers that suddenly appear where you used to be able to take a break from everything that is happening, and then they completely die because of some poisonous plants. I know that many games do have, the games changing throughout, like the environments. However, for some reason, Batman is memorable because, hello, it's Batman. You have literal consequences of Poison Ivy essentially being released from Arkham Asylum. You get to see her take over this island and get to see her little plant babies and her little plant minds take over. And not just that, you also get to see first the Joker people, and it's just riveting, in all honesty. As a fan of Batman in general, I completely love being able to down my cowl as the Caped Crusader and feel like a bad bee while strolling through and kicking some butt. Yes, I do know that this is one of the much older games that I have said. However, nothing will take away that many aim to replicate this combat system. Many aim to replicate how easy and how amazing the combat flows. Batman is just such a good game, and it is a game that I will also keep going back to. I mean, heck, you're watching the B-roll right now. These three games that I just spoke about are so different, but they are all memorable in their own right. Even a game like Telltale's The Walking Dead doesn't have that much in gameplay besides the occasional quick time events and choices, but the story is just so great. It keeps you just playing, keeps you captivated, and it just makes you so connected with these characters that you're playing as. Yet a game like Arkham Asylum is combat heavy, but still uses environment and storytelling to really bring it together. Some games don't have this balance, if you will, but games are great, and games are worth giving it more than just one playthrough. I mean, look at Cyberpunk. It is a great example of a game that no one expected to be this great, considering its really, really rocky release. there is a lot of games that I myself do have not even finished playing, Red Dead Redemption 2 being one of them, because I'm scared of playing it. But it's because of me being scared, I know the ending is going to hit that much harder. And a lot of times for me, I just don't want a game to end. But then I can just always replay it, right? One game, in my opinion, that was memorable, but just not as memorable for me. And by that, I mean something that I just can't replay it for the life of me, is Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. It has great graphics, great environment. The story, I get it. There is some things about Uncharted 4 that I just don't like, but that's just my opinion. Games like Cyberpunk, games like The Last of Us Part 2 and The Last of Us 1, these are games that in general are just so great. And yes, I'm also including the Walking Dead Telltale series. I'm including Life is Strange. I'm including all of that. I am a huge fan of these series, and I just love it to bits. Anyway, guys, I am so sorry for going on and on like that. I'm even off script. Like, I didn't write any of this in there. Anyway, guys, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry I took a long time to upload a video, but I am really tired from work once I get home, and I honestly just don't have enough energy to record, you know, sit down, edit, and everything. And I'm, again, so sorry. But I do want to say once again, thank you so much for getting me past 500 subscribers. It does mean a lot that you guys are watching these videos, or that you guys even just watch them for a second. It always means so much to me. Okay, you know what? Before I get sappy, I'm gonna go. Okay, guys? Appreciate the heck out of all of you. Have a really great rest of your week. Bye-bye.